Hey, we're live, we're live, we're live. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome to Hanging with the Dreamer. I am your host, the Dreamer, and my guest today is Mr. Chuck Garric from Beasto Blanco. Sir, how are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Boy, just that little intro bit there is just good to know what kind of dream I'm entering. Obviously, there's a lot of fire in your dreams. So okay, good to know.
Sometimes.
Note taken. You and I'll
Some
get along just fine.
awesome. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
And I would just like to we're gonna have a short time here, and I just wanted to ask you, what is the history behind Beasto Blanco?
Well, I mean, it's quite the long history. I mean, just between band members, we go back years before we even started this band together. So basically, brother Latham and I, we've been friends, since the '80s, pretty much. He's one of the first guys I met when I moved to Los Angeles, and we hit it off right away, and we've always played and written music together. And then, of course, when I joined Alice Cooper, I became really good friends with Calico, and we had talked about the possibilities of collaborating somehow together in some sort of creative outlet. And that outlet happened to present itself as Beasto Blanco. So we started 2013, and since then we've had 3 studio records and 1 live album, and
That's
plenty of tours throughout U.S. and Europe, and broken down vans and buses, and lots of people and no people, and it's just been a great experience. It's been a lot of fun. I love the guys that I'm in the band with, guys and gals.
Would you like to share exactly who's in Beasto Blanco as of
Sure.
today, sir?
Yeah. So myself, and then I got Calico Cooper as well as a singer and songwriter. She's definitely a force to be reckoned with on stage and off. She's directs our videos, and yeah, just a real pleasure to work with, especially on stage. She's very unique, and I mean that in a positive way. She's the extremely creative individual. Brother Latham on guitar as well. I've known him forever. Great songwriter, great guitar player, great dude. Always in a good mood, and really great entertainer as well. Jan McGraw on bass. Jan and I've met several years ago when I was on tour with ESP project, and we met in Germany, and Jan happened to just come on up, and obviously spoke very good English as he had lived in the U.S. for a couple of years, and they learn English there in school. But him and I hit it off immediately, and I always wanted to do something with Jan, and put him behind the bass, and again, another just fantastic individual, real fun to work with, and just real creative. Sean Sellers on the drums. We borrowed Sean from the band Good Riddance to help finish our last record, We Are, in the studio with Ryan Green. Brought Sean in to play on a few of the tracks, and from then we've used Sean on several tours, um, uh, and demos and things like that. So overall, it's just a big old happy family.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
cool.
That's that's really nice that there can be such a simpatico spirit between all the components of what has become Beasto Blanco and
Yeah,
what it,
it's a unique um, artistic adventure, if you will. There's nobody's holds a position above anybody else. I think, for me, I know that all ideas are welcome. And just because if I happen to be singing a song or what have you, doesn't mean that, or wrote a song, doesn't mean that it could be a song that Calico sings or a song that Jan sings. Maybe we share vocals. It's whatever's just best for the overall creative force. Everybody is sort of all fighting and trying to obtain the same goal. So there's no egos. There's no struggle for or fight for spotlight or anything like that. We really just all want the same goal, which is we care a lot about the band. We care a lot about each other. And we care a lot about our fans, and we just really hone in on making sure that they get the biggest bang for their buck. And entertainment, aside from the live show, aside from the sonically, it's something that's really important to us.
So has Beasto Blanco entered the world of playing direct out, or is Beasto Blanco still going to stay pretty much a purist band by having speaker cabinets on stage?
What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, you have your Kemplers and your Line 6s, your different 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 direct boxes that are amps and effects all in one.
I see.
And that type of thing. That's pretty much, I've always understood music to, you know, and I don't really want to sound like a neutral or like a neutralist about this, but I I've always imagined when I think of solid rock, when I think of solid music, I the typical Gibson Les Paul and Marshall, you
Yeah,
know, and I mean that's stuff that I grew up on, and
yeah, of course.
you know, and but with the advent of all this new technology that's out now, even neural DSP has got the quad cortex,
Hmm.
and that it serves perfect for a live situation,
Yeah.
studio. I mean, I was just wondering, do you consider yourself an old school type of player, or you more of a purist, or do you consider yourself um kind of utilizing all this new modern technology that's out now?
I consider myself. I'm definitely old school. Old school when it comes to what I listen to and what I enjoy, but I'm also current and budget minded. So when I have the opportunity to track, obviously there are some advantages, and but the type of music that we perform right and that I enjoy listening to, it is primarily the Marshall tones you speak of, or Fender,
Uh,
Orange, things like that. But we also, I like to think that for Beasto, it's and even Alice Cooper now, but equipment like Kemper, which you mentioned, it's so advanced, and we use Kempers live for Beasto, and for obvious reasons. One is when you're a band that tours as much as we do, and obviously every dollar counts.
mm,
Room, you need as much room as you possibly can. Bringing half stacks and a lot of that stuff is not as convenient for us as it would be for other bands that are maybe, you know, the step up a little higher. So right now, Kempers have been amazing for us because we're able to really get the tones, and we've worked hard on getting tones that we're really happy with, that you know, we're profiling, you know, vintage sounds, and with a little tweaking and spending some time on those particular sounds in Kemper, we've gotten them to sound and feel like an old school amplifier, if you will. But what it's allowed us to do is it's allowed us to save money with the budget regarding, you know, trailer space and
Mm.
having the consistency night after night after night. I really love to stay on top of technology. I think it's important. I think you'll always find a purist heart in Beasto, especially when the live show is happening or when we're thinking production. But at the same time, other amps that you just mentioned, it helps with especially me being a guitar player. It's really helped me because it's consistent every night. It's the same every night. So whether we choose to go in ears or if we choose to, you know, have backline with you know, 410s or 412s or things like that, then we're able to still get our tone that we're so used to, and I think that's important. Aside from just having something that you think people are going to be, hey, they're not purist or they don't have Marshall cabinets and heads on stage. Well, you know, the nice thing about us using what we have is that it gives us the confidence to have the best performance we can have. So I'm sort of a fan of both, but I mean, listen, I'll always crank Michael Schenker and, you know, and Hendrix and, you know, Randy Rose and all those guys and Sabbath and all the stuff that I listen to, Motorhead to, you know, whatever. I love all the classic rock. I love all the 70s and I love what's happening now. So I just think it's just a matter of not necessarily staying neutral, but just staying open-minded.
Well, what I wanted to ask was, and thank you for sharing that, Chuck.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, now I have seen, and I've been watching the Seeker video a whole lot, and it's and grind. That's another one. Um, as far as live fast, die loud. Those are great tunes. Those are great
Great.
tunes.
Thank you.
And the video, but there's just something about the Seeker that had just totally captivated my attention. Um, and the whole, what is the like, what is the whole video making process like for you in a nutshell?
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, just so you know, like all three of those songs that you mentioned, Live Fast, Die Loud, just going back to the way that was recorded, that was recorded with Marshall amps and cabinets. Grind was a mixture of tube amps and I think fractals.
Mm.
And the Seeker was again a mixture of both tubed amplifiers and Kempers. So, but back to your question, you know, when the song was written, Calico had a few ideas regarding some videos that she wanted to do, and when they decided that Seeker would be the first single, the record company obviously gave her permission to go ahead and write, direct the video. And one thing about Calico you'll know is that she just doesn't think small. So with a very small budget, she was able to make a very big video. Called in a lot of favors. Had written, directed, produced, co-edited. She found the location. She found the wardrobe. She found the actors. She pretty much did it all. It was quite impressive. So I think what the video process for me was
Yes.
to act as a support system. Say, hey, whatever you need, let's get it done, and just try to facilitate her idea.
Well, that's these videos came out so well produced
Thank you.
and so well thought out and
Yeah.
so well vibed out, the whole vibe, and just it's just great. It's a
Yeah,
great
I think it
great
was important for her to execute not just a rock video, but also something that tells a story. And uh, it was important for her to get this idea across, and it just wasn't going to be just your typical
Hmm.
music video, which is something that's unique to us that I think lends that kind of lends itself as a benefit for us to have those types of individuals that we work with that kind of will think outside the box a little bit just to mix it up, make us that much more different, if you will.
Well, on the fairness of time, sir, I
Yeah.
just I just I just and you mentioned the fans. You
Mhm.
mentioned the importance of being able to deliver to the fans. I So on that note, I'm just going to I just want to say hi real quick to everybody. Ed B's here. He said, "Say hey, Ed B, totally beast." And Mr. Bishop, hello guys, good to see you. Thank you for all you've done, Mr. Bishop. Thank
All
you,
right.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, all right. Um, my eyes are going. Lily McCartney says hi.
Hello,
Hi,
Lily.
how are you, Lily? Welcome to the show. The one thing that I and thank you everybody for being here today. I know it's a Wednesday and it's the middle of the week, and thank you everyone. It means a great deal to me, and as it does for my guests. And I'd like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here today and taking your precious time to be here. Because it's without everybody here in the chat today that this show wouldn't be happening. And
You
thank
got dedicated fans, man. You're very blessed. Good for you.
thank you.
Good for you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. And I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you kindly, sir.
Hmm.
So one thing I wanted to there was another question that I had about inspiration. Okay, I'm a real sense well since I'm a real big spirit led inspirational, like I look for inspiration in everything that I do, and to keep my um well, for lack of better terms, to keep my creative flow going. What would you say is some of the prime inspirations to building Beasto Blanco to be that now that Beasto Blanco has really become its own entity, which is wonderful. What would you say that your guiding inspirations are behind that, Chuck?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's been several inspirations that have led to to the success of this band. In the early days, I think that it was just pure drive and intuition, instinct, and gut feeling that sort of led you to jump off the cliff, if you will, and start this new um, adventure musically and artistically, all that. I mean, obviously, I was picking up I'm a bass player, and now I'm all of a sudden I'm singing and playing guitar and
Mm,
thrown into that spotlight. So there had to be sort of a lot of just trust, and at the same time, I think just a little bit of just just the willingness to put yourself out there and recognize that the failures were actually going to be your very important ornaments on this journey you're about to go on, because there's certain things that you think might fail, but they're actually helping you get to the next destination or build as a singer, as a songwriter, and things like that. So I think uh, there's been a lot of times I spent meditating with the transcendental meditation, ACIM, things like that, that just sort of helped with the putting it out there into the universe, and mostly just the people around me. My wife, Lindsay Garric, is a amazing songwriter, lyricist, and she was really tapping into some great stuff in uh, on the second record, where she wrote every lyric for the second and third album. And she was honing in on something that was just um, really unique. So whenever those moments would pop in, like just general today, I was just writing. I've been writing for the last few weeks, and I just sort of stay focused on whatever's coming. I look at like songwriting and being artistic and having these things come to you, as they're little gems that are out there in the universe, and you just kind of pluck one and you figure out where you're at, and um, you go with it, and you just kind of stay on this little path. And I don't write for any particular reason for it to be the next big hit or what have you. I obviously have a structure and I understand writing how it's supposed to go, but I just sort of let it just. I don't put any rules or expectations on any song. I think anything's possible. So I use that as just sort of my guidance. Is just what am I feeling inside? What's happening here? What am I struggling with? What am I not struggling with? And if I am struggling, why? Am I having doubt? Am I having fear? And if I am, is that real? And or is it just a little insecurity and feeling like maybe something's not good enough? But once you can get over that little hump, it's it's uh, it's fun. You can all of a sudden feel the momentum is happening, the inertia is going, and before you know it, a couple hours later, you've got this 4-minute piece of music that a couple hours ago you had nothing. And I find that to be the biggest joy out of all of this. And so I just think that there's a lot to be said for paying attention to what is going on inside your head, and what you're going to pay attention to, and what you're not.
very well said, sir. Very well said. Very well said. I do you ever feel like in your mind that you have, well, you're caught up in your own creative flow and you're writing lyrics for a song, do you ever envision, do those lyrics ever become an uh, actual physical vision going on in your head while
Oh,
you're playing?
I think a lot of times that's what is my biggest motivators. I'm constantly visualizing. So whether it be lyrics or if a song makes me feel a certain way, there'll be visions and concepts of how something would look if this was just a scene. Uh, so I use the vision and my imagination is really what this is all about. I'm still that 14-year-old kid who loves to listen and write music and dance around the bedroom after I've created something, and I'll always be that guy. For me, it's just the fact that it gets heard or I get to record it, make an album, and go on tour is just wow. That's amazing. I can't believe I have that opportunity, and I can't wait to get back and do that again. But in the meantime,
That's
I'm still okay with being in my studio and writing a song and feeling like I was productive in some sort of creation of what I enjoy to do, some sort of art. And I I never really realized how much of an artist I actually was until I started Beasto Blanco, and it's been uh, it's been good. It's helped me from not growing up.
well, the I saw, I know our time's coming to a close. I just wanted to ask real quick. I saw that Calico, during one performance video that I saw, um, I, I saw one of these on stage.
What do you got? An iPhone?
No, a theremin.
Oh, the theremin. This goes to show you how bad my eyes are. Let me see. Hold that up again. Oh yeah, that was Brother Latham's theremin. Yeah, he uses it during the song "Honey."
That I did not expect that.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
hey, welcome to the show, man. We're trying to make sure it's stuff you don't expect, right?
that's awesome. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. So before we close out here, are there anybody? Is there anybody that you would like to give a big shout out to?
I just think I give a shout out to you. Give a shout out to your fans. I give a shout out to anybody who's listening, supporting rock and roll, and uh, I also give a shout out to just the front line. These people that are dealing with this with the pandemic and they just the human race, man. These are some tough times right now, and I know a lot of people are going through things a little differently than others. So uh, I've noticed a lot of unity and a lot of people just reaching out and checking in on each other, or trying to stay connected, and I think that's important right now. So my shout out is to everybody who's trying to do something positive.
And I as well would like to shout out to the Essential Guitarist group on Facebook that has so kindly been sharing every show, and Curtain Call Promotions, and El Puerto be able to have guests to do my shows. And it means a lot. I ever since I've started doing this show, hanging with the Dreamer Chuck, I've learned so much over the
Good,
course
good.
of
I'm
last
glad
year.
to hear that. Tell me a little bit about why you call the show that.
Hanging with the Dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've always been told that I have an overactive imagination,
Okay.
and I I really I love music so much, whether it's listening to it while I'm working on my video editing, playing it, watching it. I love music so much because it's my source of peace, and it's my source um of of being comfortable and being content, and
Good.
it all ties in to hanging with the dreamer. Why the kid dragging the guitar? Well, when I could say this, it's public knowledge about myself. When my father died when I was 13, I, as you can imagine, I just all over the map. And,
That must have been hard.
you know, I did my best. I made a whole bunch of good choices, whole bunch of bad choices, and everything in between. But one thing um, that I never really realized until I saw Motley Crue at the country club that was in Reseda.
I've
I
been
used
there
to
several times.
I used to go there quite a bit
Mhm.
with my sister,
Mhm.
and the very first show I saw there was Motley Crue,
Huh.
and you know, it Mick Mars was standing 4 feet right above my head, you
Yeah.
know, and I've always gravitated to the guitar side of the stage for some reason, and I'm thinking that that's probably because of my love for Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin and the history behind how Jimmy, some of the things and some of the moves and some of Jimmy Page's approaches to performing, how they came about. And from everything from the theremin to the violin bow to I don't have a violin bow handy, but I do have an ebow, and I just started experimenting with that, and that's pretty cool.
I love it. Yeah. So you're a guitar junkie. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Where can I hear some of your music?
Well, I don't have any out, and I need to do that.
We need to change that. You get a song or two out there.
I should. I've been thinking about it. I see that you play from time to time. You have played live and in videos with a Dean Nash Vegas.
Oh yeah, the Dean bass. Uh, yeah, I don't even. It's been a long time. Where did you see that at?
The Dean Nash Vegas Telecaster I saw was in the Rise video,
Oh right, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and then a couple of live performance shots.
sure. That was a while ago, but absolutely. Yeah. Keep paying attention. I like it. Well,
Did
now I've got to make sure I'm on my toes, and so I know guys like you are watching.
well,
Well,
it's just
make sure.
it means a lot to me, and I enjoy it so
Well,
much.
I would love to hear some of your music, and if you ever release anything, please let me know. All
I
right,
would love
man.
to share that with you,
Good deal.
and I just want to thank everybody for being here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
thank thank you everybody in the chat. And today is a very special moment in my life and the history of hanging with the dreamer, to be honored with such a wonderful guest. And I'd like to thank again as a big shout out to El Puerto Records. And I I'd just like to say thank you to my guest, Mr. Chuck Garric, Beasto Blanco, for being here today.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for having me, and I guess don't stop believing, man. Don't stop dreaming, and I'll catch you later.
Thank you, sir, very much for your time, and I
Thank
hope
you to your guest, and stay in touch. Okay.
I'll do so. Thank you so very much, sir.
Bye bye now.